I want to show you a video. This is Ron Paul from 10 years ago, and he's warning about us, that he's saying that there's people inside the government that want to start a war with Russia, that they're reckless and they're crazy. And well, I'll play it for you. And so this goes right with the terror attack that just happened in Moscow. And so this is him from 10 years ago. Listen to what he has to say.
I speak more from the perspective of the United States taxpayers, and it doesn't serve our interests. We've already spent $5 billion over the last 10 years trying to pick and choose the leadership of Ukraine, and then we participated in the overthrow of the Yanukovych government, and this is when this recent stuff really stirred up. But we've been involved too much, and I take a non-interventionist foreign policy position. It's not our business. It doesn't serve anybody's interests. It's part of the same thing that led us into the disaster in the Middle East. A lot of people die, a lot of money is spent, and we're still suffering the consequences of the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, and there's a threat of the war in Syria. We don't need another threat. The American taxpayers don't want it, and our government thinks they can get away with, well, I know the people don't want a war yet, but we're going to play games and we're going to threaten Russia and we're going to put on sanctions. And they fail to recognize that we have $500 billion of investments in Russia. Russia has $450 billion invested in the West, and all we're doing is trying to stir up more trouble. It makes no sense whatsoever. So it makes a lot of sense for us to mind our own business and let somebody over there solve their own problem.
How in 2014 did you see what so many others, including me, did not, that this was a very big deal, what was happening in Ukraine, and that it might end very badly for us?
Sometimes the people who are running the operation gives you an idea, like Victoria Nuland, Jeffrey Hyatt. You think, what are those people doing? But they're such an example of bipartisanship. Yes. They can work with both of them, and they're the worst kind of warmonger. But all you have to do is, you don't have to know all the detail. I try to be very cautious, especially in economics. Well, this, and this, and next month there's going to be such and such happen. In Austrian economics, we're taught that you don't know exactly when things are happening, but you can see things coming. It's the same way. You might be able to see our foreign policy coming if you want to go back and observe what happened at the beginning of the last century, yes. With the progressive movement. So the hints are there. I think what has helped me over the years is I'm curious. Most people are, but a lot of people aren't that curious. Yes. I want to know why it happened, because still the question I have, the recent things happen. I said, who's going to benefit? Who benefits from these bombs being dropped? Who benefits?
So there you go. There's Ron Paul. And I just want to also show you that not only did we fund ISIS, we create, I wouldn't doubt if they're 100% created by the CIA in the United States, just like Al Qaeda. I mean, Hillary Clinton said we did with the Mujahideen. And so here, this guy, this is the leader of ISIS-K. And so this is read from Wikipedia. So guess what it says? He was born to a family of merchants, blah, blah. He received religious education. According to Iran International and Afghanistan International journalists, this guy, he worked as a subcontractor of a security company and frequented Bagram Airfield. That's a U.S. military base inside Afghanistan. So if they're blaming on ISIS-K, here's a guy who was already working with the United States government in Afghanistan. So anyway, let me bring in Keaton. Anything to add to Ron Paul?
Yeah, well, I mean, not to pick on TYT. I know, not that we have to worry about it, but one of the things that they said in that monologue is that the government is too incompetent to pull any of this stuff off. And no, the government is not incompetent when they want something done. It's just that usually they don't want anything good done. But when they want to start a war, when they want to sow chaos, when they want to sabotage South American, Latin American nations, when they want to occupy and, colonize certain populations, they still have their fastball. They still have their fastball. And that's kind of what I think Ron Paul was talking about there. And so, when they set their mind to it, they can do anything.
Hey, come see us do a live stand-up show. We're going to be in Stockholm, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, London, Oslo, Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Cortland, New York, Oakmont, Pennsylvania, El Paso, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Edmonton, Alberta, Vancouver, British Columbia, and Denver, Colorado. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets.